Hi, everyone. Kayla, could you confirm that we're live for me? We've got a couple of people in chat, so you may hear some dings as they're entering. It's just our speaker and our officers.
It's not live for me. Can anyone else see it? I know oh, there we go. There we go.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I'm still working on this tech stuff. Speaking of, I have some requests at a later date in this, or later time in this meeting. But I wanted to just kind of go through a few things with you all, just as a recap. My name is Laura Hicks. I am the president of the Psychology Club. I am a senior graduating in December I'm a psychology major. My career path is experimental psychology and social science, and with an emphasis in self and identity. So that kind of gives you a little bit about me. We have previously introduced all of our officers, so I'm not going to do that again, but I wanted to make sure you had a point of contact. So if you need to ask any questions, feel free to email me or text me. I do use the phone sometimes for calls, but not always. So texting is usually better, or email. But if you need to call, you're more than welcome to do so. And if I don't answer, I will call you back. A couple of little recap things. We have our meetings every other Thursday at 1 p.m. Our next one is October the 8th at 1 p.m., like I said. The links are on our YouTube page. They're already up. So if you are subscribed to our channel, then you will get notifications of those lives as they go live. Otherwise, we usually send the links directly by email, and it's usually in most of our social media platforms stuff. Kayla, would you be able to post the, I just lost my train of thought, the link tree for me so that people can find our social media?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And it should be in an email if everyone received the recap email from 2 weeks ago. Should be in that email also.
I've also added it into the signature line of my email. So if you ever email me, it gets sent that way as well. So, wow, I'm making myself get smaller here. Sorry. Yeah, so be sure to follow us on social media. We've got a Facebook group, but we also have pretty much everything else, Twitter, Instagram, and then we also have something called a Discord, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. If you are unfamiliar with Discord, let me move that over so you can still see me a little bit. Discord is a chat, basically a group chat area, a chat room. And so we put this together so that we could literally, sorry, I did not mean to make things jump around. So that we could interact outside of the campus, outside of YouTube, and outside of social media in general. This is a great place that we can, apparently in a voice chat. Well, that's exactly what this is. We have the ability to have a voice channel where we can pop in and hold study sessions, where we can just hang out, things like that. We have text channels where you can put any ideas that you have down. If you have any questions about psychology, it's basically a place that's like a hub for us to use to interact and really create the community that I think a lot of us may be missing, with some of us being off campus this semester, and just with interactions being a lot less on campus this semester. We wanted a place where we could all go. So in the link tree is a link to the Discord. I would love for you guys to join, and be sure when you do join that you read the rules, and then pop down and introduce yourself in the introductions tab. So I do need to make sure. I think, Kayla, can you just double check that that Discord link is in there? I think it is, but just do me that favor because it's bugging me.
Yes, it is in there. It requires you to sign in.
Yeah, you'll need to.
Create.
Yeah, it's just like any other thing that has an account. You'll need to create an account for a Discord and then just basically join that Discord. You can set it up on an app on your phone so that you can get notifications if like we make announcements. That's another way we can communicate with you and say, hey, we're going live today, or in like 30 minutes our first meeting or our next meeting happens, and things like that. It's a cool feature, cool, nice little thing. It's kind of an alternative to using Messenger or text, so we're not all like bombarded by group texts and things like that. So I encourage you to get involved there, and then obviously attend our meetings because we like to, hear from you and stuff. So we have an upcoming event the 24th of October. It's a Saturday, going geocaching. And we don't have a lot of details on this yet as far as time and things and details as far as where we're going and all of that. If you're unfamiliar with geocaching, it is kind of like a scavenger hunt. I believe you're given a location, like a geolocation, and you go and you have to like search the area for a hidden item. And it's really, really, really fun. And we're going to obviously abide by social distancing and all of that, as much as we definitely will. Everybody will be wearing masks. It'll be very safe unless something happens with, through recommendations to the government. We will hold these. Otherwise, we'll obviously defer to them and to the university and their limitations as well. We have a few volunteer opportunities this semester, and we'll likely have a few more. The first one is in October. We are volunteering at, I call it OK Food Bank, but it is the Community Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma, I believe. And we'll be doing that in October. Kayla, could you paste in the form for signing up for that? This form is basically, sorry, hold on a second. This form is where you can sign up, give us what we have available to you as far as time, and then additionally, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But additionally, there's some requirements as far as release of liability and things like that the Community Food Bank requires of all the volunteers. And what we hopefully will be doing is essentially sorting food for them within their warehouse. So there's no outward facing volunteer stuff. So we won't be coming in contact with the public, just with other volunteers at their facility. And they are abiding by social distancing standards as well. So if you are at all interested in that, Kayla, I'm not seeing any links. I don't know if that's just me.
Can anyone else see them?
It could be me that I'm not seeing them, but if you see the links in the chat, the live chat, will you just type in there and say yes or no?
Yeah, on my side, they don't look hyperlinked, but you should be able to copy them.
Well, I'm going to keep going, and hopefully somebody can give us some ideas if they don't see them or if they do. Okay, so as far as our November volunteer opportunity, she's not seeing them. We will get them in the chat here. Hold on a second. you're just getting all the kinds of behind the scenes here.
Okay, do you see I posted again? Let me know if you see that.
Oop. Well, hold on. Okay, so I just posted them. I don't see your comment.
Okay, so the ones they see are from your side, not mine.
Correct.
Can you see my other comments?
Yes. The last one I see is remember to leave a comment so that I can count your attendance, which is a very good thing to verbally say. Definitely comment below so that we can count your attendance. In order to have membership to the club, you need to attend 50% of the meetings, so which is really not many. It's like 3. And if you are not watching this live, you can still comment on the video, and we will be counting that attendance afterward. So don't stress if you're not feeling like you're going to be able to make the meetings live. That's absolutely not a problem to count attendance. But we do need you to comment because we don't see like pop-ups or anything when somebody's viewing the video. So just be sure you're commenting so that we know you're here. Okay, back to where I was. So in November, basically our donation bottles, whoa, these are out of order, I think. No, I just don't even have it in there. Okay. All the clickety clicks. So basically in November, we are going to be assembling our donation bottles, which if you're unfamiliar with that is we have a table on the first floor of the education building on campus. And we're basically taking donations for our...
Laura, that box is almost full. I dropped some book bags off and a couple of other items. That box is almost full.
That makes me so happy. Thank you guys so much. I will make a plan to go by and pick those up this next week. So you're more than welcome. If the box is full for these items, you can always put them under the tablecloth if you don't feel comfortable leaving them on the table or just around the box. But so far, everybody's been really good about leaving that area alone, so it shouldn't be a problem if you just left them on the table if the box is completely full. Like if you go by tomorrow and put something in there and it's full. Otherwise, I will plan to go by and pick them up next week and just empty that box. But we will be collecting items in that donation box on that table through I think the 18th of November. And on the 19th, we are going to be assembling those bottles at our last meeting. So that meeting will be in person. We will stream it live here just so anybody can view what we're doing. Should you be interested in that. But otherwise, we will be trying to meet in person there on campus. Obviously, if there's an issue with the university not allowing in person, then we will have other information for you as soon as we get that information. So I don't have a room number for that yet, but I will pass that along as soon as we do. So if you know of anybody who would like to donate to those items or to that donation, they don't have to be students. It's literally anyone and everyone collecting items. There are lists on that table, and we will actually send out another email about the specific donation items that you can collect. Basically, we're putting together bottles and backpacks of necessities for the homeless. So deodorant, razors, shaving cream, little snack foods, soap in general, hand lotion, all sorts of things like that. There's a big old long list. And then we are collecting bottles, the big open, like wide mouth bottles, and then backpacks as well, because we have some bigger items that we're not going to be able to fit inside bottles, but we still want to make available. The more the merrier. So lots of information about those things. If you are interested in the food bank, make sure you fill out the form in the chat. And then the donation stuff, just put it on your calendar to come help us assemble those bottles. And sorry, I had a chat. Bear with me just a second. We don't have a date. Kayla just asked if we had a date for the OK Food Bank. We do not yet. It is in October, and on that form, you can fill in your availability, and then we will pick, hopefully, the most available time for everyone and chat with them about scheduling a time to do that. So they don't have open dates as of yet, but they are rolling out a whole new thing, and I think that's affecting them releasing dates to the public, but we can work with them and say, hey, we're available during this time. Could we come in and volunteer? So as soon as we have a date, I will let you guys know. And then if you're interested beyond that, then you can still participate, probably all the way up to the date of the volunteer. So both of these opportunities, if you're needing something for your resume or your Vita for grad school, you can get volunteer hours for both of these. And I mean, obviously we would be able to provide you with whatever documentation you need to be able to do that if you need it for class or whatever. These are some great opportunities to get involved safely this semester. I wanted to remind you that we do have graduation cords available. They are $8. That $8 is due by October 30th. The unfortunate part is the university has not approved the cords for being to be able to wear them during the ceremony. But you are obviously still entitled to them as a member. You just have to meet the requirements, which is paying your dues, which can be made all the way up to the 30th of October when these cords money is due. And you have to attend 50% of the meetings. Like I said, it's only 3 meetings the semester. So, and again, they can be, you can attend those meetings even after the live and still get attendance credit as long as you post a comment in the video, so we know you were there and viewed it. Let me grab the cord.
So someone mentioned the Discord link
Yes.
looking expired. I posted another one, but I don't know if you can see it. Okay. I'm having issues over here.
Are we needing a different Discord link? Let me see if I can find one real quick. Remember how I did this.
I just posted one in chat.
Perfect, thank you. She's so good at this. So we're still working out the kinks, just a little. Can you tell? That's the Discord link. And okay. So, and I just posted the form for the cord. So if you intend to purchase a cord, please fill out the form in the chat as well. T-shirts are still available. We are going to do a second round of these, which will be due by the 30th. The money will be due. So if you were not able to get in time for the first round of T-shirts, or you know of somebody who would like one of these shirts, they do not have to be a member whatsoever. They're $20, and we just need to have you fill out the form that is in the linktree link, and then pay your dues via PayPal, which the link is in the form. So these shirts we want to make available to everyone on campus It's, there's not a reason to keep it to club specific. So if you know somebody, even if they don't like go to school at NSU and they still think it's funny to have a Pink Floyd shirt, then Freud, I said Floyd, but I meant Freud. Anyway, they are available, and you could share that form in the PayPal link with them, and they can order a shirt. That new deadline is the 30th of October. October. Excuse me. The shirts that have already been paid for and the forms filled out are already being purchased as we speak. So we do have a speaker, which I'm not sure if she's with us yet. Who's here? Nope, she's not here yet. She'll be joining us shortly, but her name is Chelsea. She is a team member with Divis. I can't talk today. I'm so sorry. And I'm just going to read her little bio to us, and then she will be joining us. But I do want to open up for questions. So if you have any other questions or problems, please feel free to put them in the chat. And as soon as I finish reading this, I'll go through them. Chelsea's been a team member with Divis for 7 years. While at Divis, she shared as an after-hours advocate and moved into the role of the assistant shelter director. During her time with Divis, she has developed programs, managed and trained teams, oversaw the move into the new shelter, collaborated with countless clients and partner agencies, and actively engaged in Divis movements toward becoming an anti-oppression anti-oppression agency. Chelsea graduated with her Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Biomedical Sciences from Missouri State University in 2013, and then graduated with her MSW from University of Oklahoma in 2019. So Chelsea is one of our speakers this semester, and we wanted to bring different speakers to you that are in the industry that have knowledge of various areas. So if you're interested in counseling, we have several people who are going to be visiting with us this semester about specifically working in counseling in this industry. So we also have some people who do research as well. So depending on, if you have any feedback on the area that you plan on going into that you might want to hear a speaker for, please put them in the chat so that we can do what we can to accommodate as many of those as we can. But basically, we wanted to give you a voice that we're not us or our professors, to basically share what it's like being in the industry in various areas, how they got there, what they're currently doing, struggles that they found, all those sorts of things. So if you have any questions for Chelsea, put them in the chat as well. And as soon as she is here with us, we will, she'll talk for a little bit, and then we'll have a little Q&A. She wasn't supposed to be here until 1:30, so she's doing fine. So I wanted to open it up if anybody had any questions that I missed. Di says Freudian slip on Pink Floyd. So true, so true. Do I know when the cords would get in? Basically, I'm ordering them on the 30th, so they'll be here within probably a week. What we will do for both t-shirts and for cords is there will be a single day that will meet on campus, or they'll be available on campus to pick up. Otherwise, we can arrange another way to get them to you. If they need to be mailed, we may have to work on that, but I don't have that specific date. I just need to, whenever they get in, I'll be able to put that in, but I would expect them within a week of the 30th, so the first week or so of November. Did that Discord link work for everyone? Okay. So with that Discord, it will require you to sign up. It's just like any other account, like you would have anywhere. You just need to basically create an account, and then it basically ties your account to our Discord. There are lots and lots and lots of people who use Discord for, says it's the incorrect format. Of course it does. Why not? Because we're special and we like to make things difficult. Let me see. I have another one. Try that one. See if that works. Does anyone have any questions about any of the upcoming events or anything else? Additionally, the one thing I wanted to talk about, if you are at all interested in like the technology, perfect, Erica, thank you. The technology side of things, we are considering adding an additional officer to the psychology club that basically is responsible for the technology side. Obviously, I've had a lot of technical issues with our meetings in the last few meetings. And so if you have a knack for that and you might be interested in making sure we have our act together on the technical side, please email me. I'm going to pull my email up here. So please feel free to email me and let me know that, yeah, I would like to do that. Basically just kind of be a point of contact if anybody is struggling with like anything that we're doing technologically, which is predominantly just making sure our streams go fine, as well as probably kind of helping with the Discord, which I can train anyone in that if you're not familiar with Discord, but just, that's probably the most technically savvy thing that we that we have. So just putting a bug in your ear about that if anybody is interested in that. Also, I don't know if anybody would be interested in putting together a study group, not necessarily just in psychology, but in anything that we are, taking class-wise. I know at least I have one that I'm struggling with. And so I wanted to open it up and see if anyone would be interested in that. We could basically meet in the Discord, whenever we can arrange to do that. But I just kind of wanted to see if anybody was interested in participating in a study group, just because I know I need some help too. So aside from that, I'm going to double check on our speaker real quick. Okay, just texted about her. I don't know what I wanted to talk about. I just like completely spaced on that one. I'm going to take about a 5-minute break. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Otherwise, you can get up and get a drink or whatever you need to do. I'm going to check on our speaker and we'll be right back. Hi.
Hello.
I'm sorry we had some technical issues. I'm not sure exactly what happened.
But it's okay. It happens.
So we are live, but I've got this muted right now. So, well, I thought I did. I think I'm actually live. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you again. So bear with me. Let me pull my things up here. Whoop. Hey guys. Okay, so we have Chelsea here, and I'm going to go back and kind of refresh a little bit, put her bio back up. I've already read your little spiel as we were having technical issues, which I apologize again for. But she is from Divis, and so she's going to kind of give us a little bit of a rundown about who she is, how she got where she is, and any other topics she decided to bring with her. So I'm going to pass that over to her.
Okay, cool. I'm going to try and share my screen. I have not used Google Meetings yet, so we'll see. I think it's working.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. As Laura said, my name is Chelsea. I'm the Assistant Shelter Director at DVIS, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about how I got to be where I am and what I do. So my current job is, again, I'm the Assistant Shelter Director. I supervise 11 employees directly, so I have a team of about 11 people that roll up to me. We do have 35 employees on site, so we have our shelter and our transitional housing apartments. So I offer like backup supervision, kind of whatever support to all of those team members. Now, while they may not be like my direct employees, if you've ever worked or had experience in residential services, you know it is a hotmess.gov. So everybody helps everybody with whatever. So kind of hodgepodging, tag teaming, whatever those needs are. So I oversee a lot of the day in and day out operations. My position oversees our kitchen manager, our cooks, our maintenance person, our supply coordinator, our kennel tech, because we have a kennel at our crisis shelter, which is so cool. And then also a lot of our after hours team members. So a lot of my job is making sure that the facilities work the way they're supposed to, in addition to all the other stuff that you think of with social work and psychology. So just a reminder that even once you have a master's degree and you're like fully arrived as a professional, you are still doing weird stuff that you never thought should or would be a part of your job description. And I think that's the really beautiful, cool part about social services is that kind of chaotic element. As a human of chaos myself, I really love that ever-changing, ever-challenging component of work. So I supervise a maintenance man in my job, and I love it. So another big piece of my job is I maintain protocols, procedures. I make sure that our shelter is operating within compliance of any of our governing bodies. So we report as a domestic violence agency, we report to the Oklahoma Office of the Attorney General. So we have lots of standards and guidelines. We get audited by them every 3 years to make sure that we're in compliance. So my job is making sure we're hitting a lot of those benchmarks, making sure we're staying up to date in the latest and greatest best practices for serving clients in a shelter and serving domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking survivors. So a lot of making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then a lot of my job is jumping in whenever it gets weird or messy. As you progress with your degree and in these fields, you will learn that just because you're a supervisor doesn't mean you get to skip out on the stressful, crazy parts of the job. It means you get to lean in even harder into that discomfort. So anything that rises to a certain threshold of messy or complicated, I get to get my hands in there and really work with team members and the clients as we navigate those things. I get to do presentations like this one to inform the community about our services. This one's kind of weird because I'm talking about myself, so it's It's very disorienting. And then I get to represent the agency in lots of cool ways. So I have done trainings. Our shelter was the first shelter in Oklahoma to have a kennel. So I do lots of training and education on what the intersection of domestic violence and animal abuse looks like. We're one of the first organizations to be like a hope-led shelter. So instead of doing trauma screens, we do hope screens. So we're trying to use positive psychology instead of some of the more diagnosing what's wrong. We're looking at what's right and what's good. So I've done some really cool presenting on that. It really just kind of depends. You get to wear a lot of different hats in social services, and that's really my job is hard to encapsulate because I get to wear so many different cool hats. So my background is when I started school, I thought I want to be a psychiatrist. I love psychology. I love working with the mind. But I really love the medicine part because I grew up in a household with my dad was a doctor. My mom was a respiratory therapist. My little brother is finishing his boards right now, so he's going to be a doctor. So I'm kind of the black sheep in that I took a bit of a left turn out of the medical field. So at first I thought I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I did my entire undergraduate in psychology and biomedical sciences, so double majored with this goal. And then I kind of got to the end of the road and was like, oh my God, I don't want to go to medical school. I don't like working with doctors. That's not for me. I think I need to see what my other options are. And kind of the thread through all of that was that I knew I wanted to help people, and I wanted to do something really intentional with my career and the rest of my life. So I changed my plan and then had a small existential crisis because you just spent 4 years on a degree and you've taken your MCATs and you've groomed yourself to go to medical school, and then you say, oh, maybe not. So this is a picture of me at the peak of my existential crisis, not sure what to do next, but I'm smiling and lovely because that's what you do when you graduate. So then I said, what can I do that will help people? And I was at a place that was just me and my cat. So I applied to like 50 different jobs across the U.S., doing anything from Department of Human Services to like any advocacy job, like hospice advocacy, like anything helping people. Because I was like, I just need to get my toes in and make sure before I get like a higher degree that this is what I want to do. And naturally, with a bachelor's degree and no experience and filling out these applications from Missouri, nobody called me back except for Divis, who was in Tulsa. And they said, okay, yeah, we would love to give you a part-time job working evenings on the weekends. So come on down. So I packed everything up and moved to Tulsa for a part-time job at Divis just to get my toes wet. And then as I dipped my toes in, I just like completely fell all the way into the work. And I realized like this work aligns with my really lovely chaotic nature. Because like I said, residential crisis work is residential crisis work. It is so unpredictable. It changes second to second, from client to client, from call to call. It's like what got me addicted to this work. And I will never leave this brand of work because it is such a fun, ever morphing challenge. So I dipped my toes in and then fell all the way in. I was at Divis in this part-time role for about 6 months. And then I just had stuck my toes into so many places that they started plugging me into all different kinds of things. And then I applied for the assistant shelter director position and got that about a year into my journey at Divis. Wholly underqualified. I was supposed to have a master's degree for that job, but I'd been doing a lot of the work already, that they just kind of said like, okay, we'll take a gamble on you because you are an insane person that is like so into this work. So that was kind of my first learning opportunities, which I don't know if this is the best advice, but while you're working, find the pieces of your job that you love and like force yourself into those pieces of your job. I'll talk a bit more about what my professional goals are, like what my next step is with my degree and with this line of profession. But there are lots of times that I found things that I love in the work and I've inserted myself into them. And then when you insert yourself and you find that that's a strength and you find that that's a skill, other people take notice and they'll start sliding more of those responsibilities your way. And that's how I've kind of created a job that's not captured by my job description at all, but it meets a lot of needs and it lets me do a lot of really cool things. So even within your job, find those nuances that you love and dig in. So I realized I love what I do at Divis, and I was ready to make a commitment to a second, like the next level of degree. So I went ahead and got my master's in social work. And I, again, had that juggling match of, what do I do? Do I do an LPC? Do I do LCSW? Like, do I do psychology or social work? And at this point, on the other end of it, I can say I don't think it really matters. So you can't make a wrong choice. Sorry to not have a magical answer, but you can't choose wrong. I went with the master's in social work because it aligned really well with my chaotic nature. I think a master's in social work takes like a shotgun approach to human needs. It addresses not just the individual, but it addresses like social issues. Like some of my cohorts from the degree program went on and are strictly doing like policy social work. So they're not doing any one-on-one social work. I have some friends who are medical social workers who are 100% embedded in hospitals doing medical social work. I have a friend who is literally a counseling social worker at Divis. So it's her and like a bunch of LPCs doing the exact same work. So if you know, like if you've had the opportunity to find within yourself that like 100% you want to do clinical counseling work, lovely. Like an LPC may be the right fit for you. But if you're not really sure, if you really like chaos and pulling in tons of other pieces, like the MSW can also be the right. So there's no wrong way to go. So yeah, a lot of what I learned in my MSW was community level work because I focused on that. I felt like I had a lot of the crisis intervention, like the coping regulation skills that I would get in a master's in psychology program from my frontline experience working in the shelter. And I also had a really solid baseline in my psychology undergrad. So this is me and she's 98 now, 98-year-old grandmother at my MSW graduation. So she's like the cutest. I love her so much. So what does my job look like? So we talked about some of the details, but the day in, day out responsibility of my job, in my mind as a leader, is supporting my team. So whatever that looks like, if that is a listening ear, if that is getting timesheets done, if that is advocating for something for a client that a team member is overwhelmed on, that's what my job is. My job is support. Some pieces of that also include things like creating culture. So my recent supervisor, who is also an MSW and moved on to way cooler job opportunities, we did a lot of work intentionally creating a culture at the shelters that's really focused on diversity and inclusion. So really focused on like having uncomfortable conversations around race, having intentional conversations around gender. And we were having these conversations at a time that it was really kind of complex and not cool to have conversations around like, how do we house trans folks at our shelter? Some people say like, well, these female survivors of violence are traumatized by male-bodied perpetrators. And we said, but these trans survivors who may also be more male presenting are the most marginalized, most unsafe communities. So we're going to house them how they feel safe. So we had some really complex, messy conversations, but that was the culture we wanted to create, was this really thoughtful, intentional. So as a leader, you create a lot of culture. You identify your long-term goals. So for us, we wanted to be the lowest barrier, most inclusive shelter in the state of Oklahoma. So that's been like what our focus has been 100%, is that this is where we want to get. And we've hired team members and interviewed for team members that embody that mission and embody those goals, so that we're not having to like drag people along and get them to the baseline competencies of where we think our shelter is functioning. Managing crisis, I cannot say that enough. Day in, day out crisis. we'll get off of this. I've seen my phone have a couple messages come through of a crisis that kind of started before the meeting. And then when we wrap up, I'll jump both feet first right into that crisis. It's just the nature of the work. And then developing team members. I have the privilege of being a manager in the agency. I get to identify like strengths and abilities and capacities and goals and desires in my team members, and then help them stick their fingers into those experiences. So we had a staff member that started at the agency and said eventually they want to become an attorney. So my goal was, yes, they're a part-time advocate at the shelter while they're in school, but they're telling me they want to be an attorney. So in my mind, I want to get them as much legal experience and training and information as I can. And we have a legal department. So I set up opportunities for them to shadow. I set up opportunities for them to like cover when the legal department was thin. So we're being supportive team players, but also like really intentionally developing our professional muscles that people are interested in developing. So as a supervisor, as a manager, we don't get taught how to be a supervisor and manager. Usually we're really good at working with clients. We're really great psychologists. We're really great social workers. And then we realize like, oh, we're being offered this promotion because we're good at our job, but I don't actually have any management skills. So that has definitely been a learning curve, and it's been a lot of self-directed learning of figuring out how to do that and what that looks like. I will also say I am middle management. So we have a CEO, we have an exec team. I'm pretty well in the middle. A lot of my job is translating information and requirements from executive level, from funders, from all these people, me trying to figure it out and streamlining it, and then putting it into practice with the direct care team. So I'm kind of in this weird balance point where I get to transfer a lot of that, and there's pressure and pull from both directions. But again, you get to have that privilege of creating and developing and thinking it through. Again, I fill in holes of my team whenever needed. So if our cook calls in sick, I am in the back with a hairnet in, microwaving some burritos, just whatever it takes to get the job done. And then again, like looking forward for and managing crisis and risk as they come. So a lot of risk and crisis assessment, being mindful of like where to draw those lines on risk. So if a client's behavior is becoming too unsafe, is it becoming like a risk liability for the agency? And then I need to make different decisions there versus being client-centered. So lots of balancing around all of this. And then for me, with my degree, my next goals are, so I just graduated with my degree in May of 2019, my master's. And what I really, really loved about my master's program was the program evaluation work. So getting in, doing the nitty gritty with data and figuring out what's working and what's not, and how we can use information to improve outcomes and improve services and improve service delivery. So that is my next goal. I have my eyes very, very clearly set on that. And I am weaseling my way into pieces of that throughout the entire agency so that people know that that's a skill set of mine and a desire and a strength. And then I get to strengthen those muscles. I get to help team members and do cool stuff. Hopefully the agency will carve out a niche for me to do that. Or if not, it gives me fodder on my resume to go apply somewhere else and say, hey, this is what I love. I've been doing this informally, but this is my goal. I will also say, and I cannot say this enough, when you on your professional trajectory and you start figuring out what you love and what interests you, make it known, like tell people, hey, this is my professional goal. Help me or get out of my way. I cannot say enough. I'm going to make an assumption that it's probably a lot of female in a psych club meeting. That's how it was through all of my schooling, education, everything. It was predominantly females. People sometimes are surprised when women very clearly say, this is my expectation and my goal. And it's uncomfortable as women for us to say that sometimes. I definitely have to like hype myself up in the car before I have those conversations. But I cannot say enough, like force yourself into situations where you have the opportunity to learn. Force yourself into situations that you think you'll be interested. And if you're not, it's fine. Like you can back off because it's not your job. You just wanted to get that experience. and then communicate with your supervisors, with your peers, with your coworkers, with people, with your professors, with whoever, what your goals and interests are, and ask them how they can help you get there. Like, kind of put some of that back on them. Like, you have to have accountability for you. But if they don't know what your hopes and dreams and desires are, like, they can't help you achieve those. So advocate for yourself, and communicate what those are. So yeah, what questions do you guys have about anything?
We actually had one question that popped up.
Okay.
Let me pin you so we get you big and large on the screen. Are you excited?
Oh, goodness. So lovely.
This question is from Di. She asks, how many marginalized people of color are in positions of leadership at Divis?
Great question. So we currently, our leadership structure is broken up. We have a CEO, and we have a team of about 9 executive directors, 9 including the CEO. So 8 executive directors, and then we have a team of about 16 additional kind of middle management leadership. So we have 1 C-level minority individual, and I think we have 4 leadership level minority individuals. Now, granted, we are like very, very strategically, very intentionally looking to hire more diversely. In the last year, we've really intentionally expanded where we post our positions, and have worked with community partners, like networks of color, to post positions on areas where racial, gender, minority individuals are more likely to look. So my boss, as I mentioned, actually stepped down at the end of July. So I've been kind of hot mess juggling her position. And we've really intentionally said that we're going to very slowly and very intentionally look to hire like a really diverse, unique individual for this role. One part because we serve probably the most diverse group of clients in the agency. We have lots of very, very marginalized folks coming through our shelter. Just because it's the nature of the shelter, they tend to not have a lot of other supports. They don't have the privilege and ability to navigate systems the way lots of non-minority clients do. So that leads us to a really complex crew that we have at the shelter. So our staff reflects, our frontline staff at the shelter reflect a lot of that diversity. We really want a leader that does that as well. So
that's great. She actually said that's pretty good compared to most places. So
yeah, I think we're hyper aware because we've had a really intense diversity and inclusion focus for the last 2 years. So I think we're hyper aware, but yeah, it's not bad.
I had one other comment that said, in regards to the Hope screens, this is from Kayla. She said that is awesome. So I don't know if you have any other thoughts on the Hope screens, if you wanted to touch on that anymore.
Oh, no, I could talk about Hope for like 4 hours. I will not. I will say, so much of this work is grant funded, and so much of this work is outcome driven. And people tend to revert to what they know. So because I love data and I nerd about that stuff so hard, like, oh my God. It really matters when people are doing this work that they also care about the data and the outcomes, and that they're staying up on the latest and greatest. Because had I not kind of been this weird little duck that spread the span of client services and also loving data, I wouldn't have been able to say, hey, we're not doing anyone any favors reporting trauma outcomes. So we used to do only trauma screens and ACE score reporting. And it's like, we're just like bumming clients out when they walk in the door. Like, after I finish this assessment, like, you can feel the energy change with clients. It's heavy. It feels gross. It's not lovely. How much cooler would it be to like plant the seed of hope and then build all of our conversations around hope as a construct? Because hope, if you break it down, is just the ability to set goals and having the pathways to achieve those goals. Like, that's all it is. And that is something that like we as professionals can like instill in people. And there's so much research that shows that hope is more powerful than resilience. Hope is more powerful than not having an ACE score. Hope is like, it's one of the most powerful outcome indicators. So if we can demonstrate that our services and our actions and our engagements with clients are increasing their hope, like how much, like as a funder, like if I told you I can increase a person's hope, like how sexy is that? How much money would you want to give me?
Exactly. Yeah.
But funders don't know to ask that because all they've been hearing is like trauma and the horror stories. So it's important. It's so important that we as like positive psychologists, as like person-centric providers, like it really, really matters that we know that language and we know how to get to those things and share that. So
that's great. Thank you so much.
Talk about hope for years and years. Join me at my TED Talk.
I'll advocate for that TED Talk.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
But thank you so much for being here and for telling us a little bit about you and about Divis. And it was great. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. That wraps up our meeting. We're a touch over time, and I apologize for that. If you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to email me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I do want to see if I can pull back up my PowerPoint. Yes, I can. Look at that snazziness. That is my email. There we go. So feel free to email me if you have any questions. All the forms that we've talked about, links to everything are in the chat. So please check those out. You can always just scroll up. Beyond that, that's all we've got today. Again, please do join the Discord, especially if you're interested in getting together as far as study groups or just general community for the Psych Club. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Our next meeting is 2 weeks from now at 1 o'clock. We'll see you later.